Hey everybody, this is Cameron. I was requested to make a video regarding the CTG hybrid oscillator that we recently have started using. A little bit of a background on it. The oscillator more or less indicates oversold and overbought conditions. And the way that it does that is it uses a blend of MACD, RSI, and then it also uses Stoch, and it takes those values, kind of puts them all together, and it then normalizes it to a scale 0 to 100, which, in my eyes, it kind of is a percentage or a rating, depending on how you look at it. And I take that number and then I smooth it down with Ehlers. And then recently I've also added rate of change, and I shortened the normalization period a little bit. But the biggest thing that this does is it takes a multiple sources of data and it puts it into one indicator. And it's kind of nice because you don't have to use RSI, MACD, Stoch, or anything like that. You don't have to have three of them in one chart. So this kind of takes everything, makes a single hybrid value, and it's easy to kind of follow and understand what's going on. So I wanted to kind of show you quickly how to add it to your chart. The easiest way is just to open up the Discord and head over to the Cameron's Indicator tab. And whenever you come in here, you'll find any updates that I do on indicators. There's a lot of old ones here that I haven't really messed with in a while. I started kind of doing these in November of last year, and I was kind of already familiar with it, but this was mainly a big one because a lot of people were struggling with finding fair value gaps. So I wanted to make one for the group, and that just kind of started this whole thing, and now we're here. So, but this isn't really the first time I've done this. I've actually have been writing code for a while now. If we go back, TradingView actually took a lot of these off because it didn't meet the requirements that they have, and you can see here my first one was October of 2022. So I've been coding for a while now, but I haven't really took a lot of time previously other than now to really focus on it. And I kind of put everything that I knew from the previous, especially this one here. I took a lot from what I knew with this one and implemented it into this new oscillator. So that's kind of a background on my coding history and the codes that I've produced already for the group. But this is definitely the most advanced one that I've come up with. So the code itself, again, once you get to the chart after getting from the Discord, you can choose whatever one you want. So if you choose this one here, it'll take you to this page. Now you won't be able to see the code because it's mine here. I'll keep it hidden for protection reasons, but you can add it to your favorite list towards the bottom of the page. So once you do that, you can click here, it'll add your favorites, and then you can go over to your chart. And I'm just going to make this full screen now because we don't need that anymore. Go over to your chart, and then you would just add it to your favorites, or from your favorites tab, which is right here. So you can add it. I have a million of them, but whichever one you want, just add it, which in this case is the hybrid oscillator. So just kind of a background. Today, this was the first time we've used it, and I would say it worked out pretty well. This is kind of what we did. In the morning, I was saying to, I think it was Witch Danza, I want to say that's his name, how it looked like a UTAD situation because you have this huge distributive look and then you have your upthrust with higher selling volume. So I was really interested in looking at some short plays, and if you guys are familiar with me, I have been out of the market for a little while. I have a lot of personal stuff going on that I haven't really been able to put a whole lot of focus onto the market, and I'm using this as an excuse for me to kind of test the indicator and get a little bit back in the game, just because it obviously seems like it works, and this is something that I can put to use, and I'm pretty proud of it. So obviously with risk tolerance, you don't want to just use an indicator to make your trading decisions. You want to use everything you got. So if you can use fibs like Colin goes over, you should be doing that. You shouldn't be using just one person or one thing to make your trading decisions. That's the worst thing you could do. So we're a team, teams work together, and the idea is to use everything that you have at our disposal. And Bronx is also really good at that because he lets us use his Unusual Whales account to access the flow data. Without having a team like that, we wouldn't be able to do that. So me being a part of the team, I want to produce anything I can for the team and do what I can to improve anyone's trading ability. So I feel like this is a really good opportunity for anyone to start understanding where liquidity is in the market and where algorithms start to look at tops and bottoms, and a lot of that has to do with momentum and indicators such as relative strength index, moving average, convergence, divergence, all that stuff that we've already talked about. So this just kind of puts it together. So I'll stop rambling here, but this is the 6-minute chart on NVIDIA, and I will show you if you were to kind of map out the 6-minute sections here where it told you to buy and sell, this is what it would look like. So again, today this was pretty much the start here, and all day if you would have just ran, listened to it, there's a lot of moves to be made here today. So, and even yesterday, I mean, anytime you just get a stock just kind of goes up, down, just kind of going in the waves, this is going to be the perfect indicator to use because, as soon as it gets oversold, you'll know, or as soon as it gets overbought, you'll know. So it's super helpful to use. But let's get into the settings and how you would want to apply it to a real time. So for instance, we'll just kind of back test it here. This was this morning, and we opened up really, really close to that midline. Actually, we were right under that midline towards open, and we rocketed past it. And then as soon as we got to this, overbought territory, that's when you start to see some momentum shift, right? So if we start moving some next candles here, literally as soon as it gets in that range, you get that big candle. And then, start watching it here, and it gets to the midline here. So at this point, you'd want to start looking at whether or not the underlying stock is going to have a positive movement in price, right? Because if it's hitting this midline, there could be some support there, whether it's a fib, whether it's a previous pivot line, it could be much of anything. In this case, it's the gap. So this morning, I took a position right up here because it was really hot, and I actually exited at this gap, and I didn't want to touch it really for the rest of the day. But after it got this gap fill, you can start to see why I decided to take another position on it, because as soon as it broke that level, this volume started to increase, and that's a good sign that that level is being used as either a support or resistance level, right? So at this point, it just flipped from support. Now it's going to be using it as resistance, and that's why that volume flipped, in my opinion. And then if you check the indicator down here, it just flushed through that 50. And if you remember this morning, I was calling that out and said, okay, there's two things going to happen here. Either the indicator rides off of this 50 and just kind of, use off of it like that. And then in that case, this is where we would have got that reversal. But it didn't do that, so you had a little bit of a test, and then once it decided that it was going to flush through that midline, then you had a continuation, right? So that's what I was looking at this morning, and I was mentioning it. You can go back in the chat if you want to look at it. I'd highly recommend doing that, especially today, just being the first day. There is a lot of emotions in the chat. There's a lot of people that were curious on how it worked, and every question was answered. So if you want to go back, just there's a lot of questions. I would highly recommend it if you have any questions. So just take a peek. All right. So if we constantly look here, it was losing that level throughout the day. Kind of took a little bit of time. Again, these are 6-minute charts, but once it lost that level, it really started to move down, and the volume started to push up. And then we get to the oversold territory. Now at this point, again, you really want to look at levels that would be causing the underlying stock to move back up. And if you look right here, there's a very large area of consolidation here that would easily cause some sort of bounce. I mean, that's pretty obvious right there. Now, if we continue to watch the chart, I didn't actually chart that out today, but if we continue to watch the chart, you get the bounce, and then this is where you get the H over, right? Now, I'm sure there's EMAs there. I'm sure there's fibs there. But if you look at the indicator, it just gets oversold or overbought again, and it just flushes one more time. So it really is about a momentum type of indicator. It really likes to go with the flow. You could probably use this alongside the half trend if you really wanted to. This is going to be your baseline kind of an idea of where the stock is going to go. So if you get that short signal and then you see it coming up and testing this trend here and it's hot, you could easily see a rejection. So obviously you don't want to use it again by itself, but it's not bad by itself. It should work just fine. So that's kind of how that ended out today. Ended up flushing through that supply or that demand zone right there, and it came up and tested it on hot volume, or on hot oscillation. So we'll see how that one ends up. I do want to get over to QQQ as well to kind of show you how that one worked out today. I don't have a whole lot charted on it, mainly because I was going through some macro charts and deleted some stuff. So I apologize for that. But it's extremely similar to how NVIDIA was played today. I mean, if you went through it, again, distribution, got your UTAD, got your higher volume spike as you're coming down, and then you end the day towards that previous demand zone. So extremely similar. I didn't end up playing Q, but you could have played it the same exact way that NVIDIA did. So let's go into the sensitivity levels quickly so you can kind of understand the differences there, and we'll just do it here on NVIDIA because it's easier and everything's already mapped out. So right now it should be on low sensitivity. That's the default. Low sensitivity is going to be where you want to stay most of the time. Mainly because you're not trying to time the bottom and top all the time. You really just want to catch the meats, and that's what that level does. If you are an experienced trader and you want to have some fun scalping, you can change it to medium, and you'll see what I mean by that. All it does is it tells you when areas are a little bit more oversold and overbought. It's just more sensitive. It doesn't do anything different. It's just more volatile, and some people like that. So I'm talking to you, Shaq. So again, if you go even higher, you're going to get more volatility. It almost becomes harder to read, right? But in cases like this, where you do get a push up and you do get increased volume, but you can also see that you're getting hot. So, it's just nice to see those higher sensitivity and to see what they do with the current candles. So sometimes you just have to have those. I don't recommend using the high sensitivity on a daily chart or on a chart that you're going to be trading day to day, whether you're trading weeklies or whatever. I don't recommend trading on high. That's not what it's for. Medium and high, again, are for digging and trying to find where the market bottoms are at and where the tops are at, because they are going to show up in the medium and high sensitivities first before the low. That's all it is. So that's what I'd recommend, keeping on low. And this EMA length here, that is the gray line that you're seeing. When the EMA is crossed by the current plot, which is the hybrid oscillator, when that is crossed, you'll get a white cross right here. You can change the size of those if you want to in the settings. I just have them set to small because you can see it. You don't necessarily need to have them huge, but when those cross, that means the momentum has shifted, right? So you can get a couple of up here. It can shift back the other way. You just have to be careful and know where your level's at. And again, that's where it's nice to have higher sensitivity so you can see that. But whenever you get those crosses, that's where the momentum has shifted to the other direction. Now, if you guys have any questions on this, please let me know. If you have any suggestions to change anything, or if you want some settings adjusted, again, just shoot me a DM. I'm more than willing to spend some time getting back into the code here and changing anything you guys need that's become helpful for you. So just give me some feedback. I'd love that. If there's any charts you guys want me to peek at with this thing, let me know. I'm going to get back to the lab and see if I can improve this a little bit more. I have a couple DMs I got to get back to, but this hopefully will answer most of your guys' questions. So thanks again.